Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my humble pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. When you are shifting from being in your childhood to shifting to adulthood, you go through this middle stage. You're called a young adult. When things are going superb and everything is best, a young adult has the best of both worlds, of being young and of being an adult. Of being young meaning you have somebody to turn to any problem, you can still go to your parents, you can go to your teachers, you can go to your elders. So therefore, the responsibility is not on your head. And at the same time, you have some freedom, you have some choice that you did not have as a youngster. So that is what is young adulthood in the best of times. But in the worst of times, yes, you are expected to behave like an adult, and you will often start hearing things like, come on, don't behave like a child, okay? But at the same time, you will not have the financial freedom of an adult, the decision making freedom of an adult, no. So you'll have no freedom of an adult. Among adults, you'll be treated like a child, and among children, you'll be treated like an adult. So that is what will happen in the worst of times. It's actually a very nice stage, when a person is learning how to fly the plane, a pilot, fighter pilots especially. In the beginning, they are given training, they are taught theory about flying, what it is, everything is taught. And once they are ready academically, they score good marks, they are ready to fly. They are not immediately put into the cockpit of a fighter jet. They are made to sit in a simulator, A simulator is where everything is very realistic. You will know it. 3D nowadays with even vibrations. When your plane crashes also, you feel the crash. Possibly they even have heaters in that small artificial cockpit which will show that your plane is burning. It's a simulation. The advantage of a simulation is it is very, very lifelike. At the same time, if you mess up and if you crash, all is not lost because you can just come and restart. So young adulthood is that beautiful simulator. You have learnt so many things in your SSC, in the Sai Spiritual Education classes. You have learnt all that, and those are all very, very important, very critical. In fact, those are the ones that will stand you in good stead at every point of time in your life, more than any other person. But instead of directly putting you into the battlefield, into the fighter jet, you're made to sit in the simulator called young adult, where if you crash, all is not lost. Why I'm saying this is, whether it comes to career, whether it comes to earning, whether it comes to growing personally, whether it comes to growing professionally, whether it comes to your relationships, because this is a time when relationships starts to happen, friendships, close friendships, going beyond friendships, so many things, heartbreaks, mind breaks, mental collapse. But when those things happen and you feel that, oh God, everything is gone, it's lost. Because I'm telling this from my own personal experiences, at university, at college, it used to be so difficult, and I used to think that this is the end of the world. But it is not, because it's only a simulator crash. Today, when I look back, I laugh at my own self. If I were to write a letter to myself in uni, I would have written, don't worry, whatever your heartbreak, whatever your mental collapse, it's not the end of the world, it's hardly anything. Because it will not matter, it's just a simulator. But based on those experiences in uni, now when such things happen, I'm able to take better decisions, I'm able to be stable, I'm able to be peaceful. And that is why this phase is very, very critical. If your childhood was like the foundation making, this young adult stage is like the curing stage. When you build a building, when you make a foundation or a building, it is important to build properly. But once the concrete and cement has been put in, there is something called the curing. If you are not already aware of it, please go and read about it online. Curing of concrete and curing of cement, where for many days, you don't occupy the house or you don't start building on the foundation directly. You cure the cement. You have to keep putting water and cure it and cure it. If this curing is not done, the home that you build will be leaky. It will start seeping. Cracks will start appearing on the wall. The stability of the house gets affected. So while building the foundation is very important, curing is equally important if you want to have a peaceful life later on. And this young adult stage is that curing stage, when you have to set it properly. And the interesting thing is whether you're building the foundation or whether you're curing, for both the most important is water. Water is what you use for building the foundation, water is what you use for curing. And that water in the metaphor for us is Swami's love. You know, they say that Swami used to spend 75% of his time with students, right? Now, let me tell you, having been a student, that in that 75% of the time, 75% of the time was with the uni students, not with the primary school students or the higher secondary school students. It was with the university students, because that is when they are transitioning and they need all the support. Because as you step in suddenly into the outside, into the open world, when you become an adult, now any problem, as I said, you can run to your teachers, your mother, your father, your uncle, or whoever, But when you become an adult, there's nobody to run to. You have to decide. You have to make that decision. Let me confess something. When I got married and it was time for my honeymoon, that was the first time in my life that I would be traveling to some place where I am the main person to make the decisions, Because in age, my wife is younger than me. I was so nervous. Oh my God, what do I do? In fact, the previous evening, I went to my dad and said, Dad, there is space in the car. Can you come along? He said, are you crazy? It's your honeymoon. I can't come with you. But I'm saying that is how I felt even at the age of 29 when I got married. I was so nervous because suddenly it hits you that, there's nobody to check, As a young adult, you can directly make a decision because if it goes wrong, there's somebody backing you. Financially, morally, socially, supportively, in every way they are backing you. But once you're an adult, that's it. You mess it up, you mess it up. You have to clean your own mess. And that is why this phase is so important. Because this is the training ground after which there is not much scope to, make a mess. And it's not like anything is permanent damage, but definitely it is more damaging than in this age. So this age, we need to focus and build that inner connection with Swami, make it very strong. Unfortunately, what happens is once we finish SSE, we go out, we become young adults and then, as I said, because it's a step towards adulthood, you are given a little more freedom. In school, your teachers will tell you, have to do this. But in university, the teachers don't tell that. In the university, let me confess, in Swami's college as well, there would be students who would bunk classes. There would be some of us who would bunk darshan sessions thinking, oh God, so boring, what to do? Every day we get to see Swami, so let us see some other time. In school, we could never do that because there would be somebody behind us with a cane possibly or with a threat of punishment. So we would always be ideal. Why did Swami do that in university? Because you have to get used to having complete freedom. And Swami would say it has to come from the source, not by force. But believe me, brothers and sisters, the decisions that you take with this limited freedom that you get now is very, very important. And therefore, please base all those on Swami's teachings. And in order to be in touch with Swami's teachings, get into the young adults program or be in touch with your Sai friends, with the Sai brothers and sisters, all your class, your SSE class, be in touch. Try to see how you can get into activities, be in that Swami atmosphere. Swami would say to the students when we were going for holidays, he would say that you are a pot filled with water. Water is my love. As I said, right? Water is Swami's love. It's not my example. This is what Swami would say. You're all pots and the water inside you is Swami's love. When you are here, Swami is a huge reservoir. You're immersed in that. So your pot is always full with water. But when you go home for vacations, you're out of the reservoir. When you're out of the reservoir, there's evaporation that happens. There's leakage losses that happens. And in no time, the pot is empty. You feel so dry. Therefore, you have to immerse yourselves. And when I heard this, I decided no vacation, I'm going to go home. I'm going to stay here only. That's why I used to stay with Swami, whether he's in Parthi or Brindavan, whenever the vacations would come, because I didn't want to lose that water. Even to this day, I remember that and realize that I have to be in that reservoir of water. I know that Swami is physically not with us, but then when you're in Australia, New Zealand, when you're in Fiji, wherever, when you're in America, even if you're in Sri Lanka, It is not as if you were running to physical Swami every time, right? You could not. Geographically, it was difficult. Practically, it is impossible. So we have to find ways in which we are immersed with Swami.